Welcome to Fasting Space. So nice to have you here today. How are you doing? So good to share this space with you. I hope you are well. We are on a journey here, Fasting Space, on the Simple Fasting channel, moving toward better health and wellness in the body, in the mind, in our total being. And today we are looking at this difficult reality that is being brought to us from this book that I totally love, Atomic Habits. When willpower fails, you might call another subtitle of this book, how to stop relying on willpower, because it's just showing so many times we end up making it difficult on ourselves to change, to do anything different or better, because the environment around us is bad. And so today we're going to look at some toxic relationships, okay? What do you think of when you think of toxic relationships? Maybe you think of the friend that is always ending up getting you to be drinking, or somebody in your life who is just a negative influence. It's like the energy is bringing you down, say, as a toxic relationship, not helping you elevate your experience to a better place. Okay, today we are going to take the idea of our relationships and move it into a different and, in some ways, I say maybe deeper space. We're going to bring it into our actual environment and look at some of the triggers that are making it difficult for us to move successfully on our health path. Put a poll up yesterday on the channel. If you head over to the community section, the posts, you can go participate in that. Where are the places, or the place in the house, that is the most difficult for you, that is triggering the most eating behavior? We got the most votes for the couch. Definitely a place we have to build a relationship with an object. That's what it is. Other people saying kitchen, share your thoughts. Where is it? And we're going to do some thinking. I hope you try to rebuild that, get a fresh start on it today. Listen to what James Clear says about some toxic relationships. He says, our behavior is not defined by the objects in the environment, but by our relationship to them. Just think about that. We think about always relationships with people. What about relationships with things? I talk a lot about relationships with food, right? We want a healthy, positive, joyful relationship with food. And then we see, like in the sessions we've done earlier this week, we can develop a somewhat dysfunctional relationship with food. We start using food for emotional purposes, covering over things, instead of doing the deep work of resolving them, accepting them, integrating them into our life in a healthy way, right? Or do we cover over them with food or other things? Okay, not a good relationship. We try to build it into something great. See, this is a useful way to think about the influence of the environment on our behavior. Stop thinking of our environment even as being filled with objects. Start thinking of it being filled with relationships. You could almost envision taking a relationship inventory. What are the things that I have a relationship with in my, even in my house, pick it. We're trying to change. We're trying to become a healthier version of ourselves. More positive and joyful maybe be the top thing. And you say below that, as we're doing it, say we are going to try to lose some weight, to deal with a metabolic issue. Opening some fasting space can help us do that, just like choosing healthier foods, putting everything in its proper place, getting more active, all these things I love. A relationship inventory around the house. It's like, how is my relationship with this fridge? How's my relationship with this room? How's my relationship with what is happening on these counters here, He says, think in terms of how you interact with the spaces around you. For one person, the couch is the place where they read for an hour each night. For someone else, it's where they watch television and eat a bowl of ice cream after work. Okay? Maybe both those things are happening for someone, but as we'll see here, things tend to get mixed. And if we're using it as the ice cream stress-like place, it's hard to really think of it as something else. It says this reveals an important strategy. Habits can be easier to change in a new environment. People brought that up on the channel before. Even take our environment and make it new. Just move the furniture, change the setup. It's like breaking the habits that the environment or the room is creating. Reorganize the kitchen, it's just, this is a different space. Don't have to buy a whole new house to make it new. This process can help you escape the subtle triggers and cues that nudge you toward your current habits. They go to a new place, go to a different coffee shop, go sit on a different bench in the park. Start using a corner of your room that you don't normally use, like just getting anything out of the new routine. Like the kitchen is the hard spot for somebody, right? So if the kitchen is your thing, like see what is happening in the kitchen. How is it organized? Is food readily available and you see it and it's triggering these things? Or are you keeping it put away? If everything is put away, you say, oh, but it's so easy to open the cupboard. Okay, can we just change the environment? Maybe let's switch the cupboards, let's do something to change things and then bring our intention into it. This is so important. Like, what is our intention in the health space? And then we're trying to use every little brain hack and tool to bring ourselves into that space. So we say it's time to be new. This is what a change is. We're trying to, we're going to be ourselves, but we're going to be a new version of ourselves. We're going to be flowing through a space in a different, better, more thoughtful way. And so with the way the brain works, say, let's just make any change. Easier probably, right? To reorganize some drawers than to stop eating the things that are in, the cupboard. So start with the easy thing. Oh, the environment's new. Maybe the silverware has flipped. Look at this. We got to go somewhere else. It's resetting that canvas. Okay. Could that help you? What do you think? Why not try it? And if you do try it, let me know. Come back. Come in the comments. Say, hey, you know what? This is helping me. I made a change, and it's helping me flow through the space. It's like a reset. I did the video the other day, the 16-8 reset. We think 16-8, we think a typical fasting sort of window. Use that also. Make another change, digital fasting. It's like, can we set a window for ourselves also for our media influence, whether that's news or videos, social media, and say, hey, can we flow through a space just like fasting from food? Can we fast from something else? You say, is that easier or harder? It's something to think about. Probably different days be easier or harder, but can a change like that then feed back around and support this type of thing? We're saying our environment is not supporting our process. Well, changing our relationship with media and the influences that are coming in, a total nother way to get into that space. There's an object, right? Where's the phone? Here's an object, but we have a relationship with it. Is it toxic or supportive and beautiful, Something to think about. He says here, when you can't manage to get an entirely new environment, definitely redefine your current one. Create a space for work, space for study, space for exercise, entertainment, and cooking. My mantra, he says, one space, one use. Ideally, Some of us live in smaller spaces. We got to do our best. And he talks about that a little in here too. He says down here, you don't understand. I live in New York. My apartment is the size of my smartphone. I have to have each room playing multiple roles. He says, fair enough. If your space is limited, divide your room or even the perspectives on it into activity zones, right? Anything that can change your frame of reference, to change the cues, can change the relationships we have with things. So any struggle that we're having in any room, someone says, for me is every time I'm going by the pantry, there's a thing, okay, let's just change anything about it. Change, do we keep the door open? Do we keep it shut? Maybe we put some sort of decoration on it that was there before. Maybe a pleasant warning sign. And maybe it can be a sign that is only symbolically a warning sign, so it's not awkward for people coming through. See, anything that is changing our relationship to it going to help us move forward. He says, if you want behaviors that are stable and predictable, you need an environment that is stable and predictable, okay? And I say stable, predictable, and functional, If it's stable and predictable and bad, then we say it's not working. We have to change it, right? Toxic relationship with the environment. Stable, predictable, and supportive and positive, where everything has a place and a purpose. That is an environment where good habits can easily form. That's what I like that, and especially home. Home is where we can control it. We can't control most of the environment outside of our own place. And you say, okay, if willpower fails, that's what we're saying. If we have to spend our whole day just leaning in on willpower, and it's like distraction, challenge. Do you feel that way in an environment? Or is like that make it very difficult to flow through a space? Isn't that the thing? Can't you feel it? It's like it can wear you down, can be difficult. Okay, where is the space that charges you up? We need something to balance that out, which is spaces that help us to flow through, is building up our capital. Remember, we talked in the fall. How do we build our mental capital? If we have limited willpower, it can fail us. All right, so we need the most important spaces that we can design: the kitchen, the pantry, anywhere we store food in our house, anywhere we can consume it, in the dining room, at the couch, all these places. I think, some people saying, oh, even the bedroom, if you snack in the bedroom, so there'd be a first place to get it out, things that can disrupt sleep. Think of fasting, the process, like we're taking temporally, like in time, and we're trying to create a window, put the food in its proper place. It's like we can definitely do that in the house. Like he is saying in this book, one place, one use. Like the food is consumed in this place, just like if we are trying to put it in its proper eating window, it's like put it in its proper eating environment. We eat at the table. We don't eat at the couch. We don't eat in the other chairs. We don't eat in these spaces. Like when we eat, this is bringing super mindfulness to it, bringing the structure and routine that is taking away these cues. Do you struggle feeling hungry consistently? Okay, it's like if you are eating in many places in the house and that's normal, then that's sending cues to the body like, oh, we are in this place, eating might be happening here, and it takes a while to fire up this system. That is going to have hormonal cues that's saying maybe the body needs to be ready for that. But when we have done the work of saying food happens in this place, in this setting, when I sit at this place, maybe you have some sort of practice of bringing a blessing to the food, of practicing a gratitude for it, right? That's like, this is priming the system also. Okay, look, we're going through our little ritual here. We are going to be bringing this food in, and it's happening in a very controlled space, right at the same place. Then we say when we're not in that space, look, we're freeing up the emotional space for better relationships and other things. We don't eat in the kitchen at the island and the things, right? We eat at the dinner table, So it's like now when we're over here, we're doing something else. It's like those cues are not there. Like the person in the book, the couch is where we read the book, eating isn't happening there. So now we can have a better relationship in that environment, flow through it in a better sort of way. How is this landing for you? What do you think? Are there rooms in the houses, places, and things that are most difficult for you? We can take it out of the house too. In the poll, I said, where are challenging spaces? Someone say, don't eat at work, because the office can be, a huge trigger. I know it can be for me. Think of the office, people bringing in treats, rooms with treats, social pressure, other people eating. Someone saying, look, if I fast at work because it's like, I help keeps crumbs off the keyboard, keeps everything clean, keeps me away from distraction, focus, and dial in. See, there's somebody designing their environment so that they can flow through it. Something that many people find a toxic relationship, eating at work, the office full of stress when we eat to cope with it. They have designed, an environment. So we bring that idea anywhere that we can control for sure, so that we don't have to lean in on our willpower all day and we can charge up. Bring willpower. I think willpower is a real thing. I mean, we can dial in on it, have a challenge, meet it with the most intensity we can. But definitely doing everything we can to minimize the number of times we have to do that is the way to go, I say. Anybody who's here live, let me know if you have other questions. Those are my thoughts on our toxic relationships with the environment, with the thought from James Clear. Happy to take any questions you have, as always. I will not run away right away before we embark on this day. Many times, a fasting space, I am just reflecting on my beautiful glass of water. A lot of times, as a fasting aid, I will say coffee, tea, a very pleasant way to get through a fasting space. Something warm, comforting, and especially if we're really struggling, a little caffeine, that can be an appetite suppressant. Sometimes I just go water in the morning, It's like, then that is like the total pure fasting. And today that is just feeling really good to me. No right or wrong with it. Whatever is feeling best and supporting. And sometimes I tell you don't even need a water. Sometimes I've never historically gotten into dry fasting. I talk with people fasting all the time. To me, some sort of beverage is the thing that makes fasting the easiest. And I'm all about, say, make fasting the easiest that it can possibly be. But I did hit it the other day where I said, well, I should at least try it. I have spent all this time fasting, never do any dry fasting. I thought, why would you do it? I'm going to try it out. I did a dry fast the other day for a whole day, and it was a very interesting experience. I enjoyed it in a way. I would say I won't be recommending it to people as like, oh, you should just try this. It'd be fun. It's like, no, but it was a personal challenge, and I did feel cleansing on a level. And I was doing some reading in it. There are different hormonal effects, of course, that are happening as we're going through the body. Kidneys, especially, very hormonally active in a space like that. And with antidiuretic hormone, all these sort of things. I think there is some value in it. I'm going to do more thinking about it. That's where it came through for me. I have met some people who really have appreciated it. I can start to see it more. Maria's here. Good morning. How are you? I hope you're doing so well today. Since cleaning my pantry, I haven't bought any junk as I don't want it cluttering my organized cupboards. Absolutely. Never been able to do that. Hey, congratulations. That seems like a good step. Absolutely. Always bought chocolate and chips just in case someone wanted it. Yeah, this is really, really a good step, I say. You say, oh, does it seem thoughtful? Does it seem caring? Oh, I'm just doing this for someone else, which of course can be a nice thing. But like, kind of, nobody needs chocolate and chips, like especially if it's not like some super healthy dialed in thing. I've gone 100% dark chocolate, and there's only a few brands of it that I can tolerate. Some 100% dark chocolate's so bitter, is like I don't like it. But some are actually really good. I've tried a bunch, and 100% dark chocolate, I think is like just a health food. No sugar, and it's got a lot of antioxidants and things in it. But it's the type of thing, it also encourages you to have just a little bit, which is probably the proper thing. So when I think chocolate, I'm in that zone. I can't even eat, milk chocolate or anything anymore. It's so much sugar. And so in my cupboard, on occasion, you'll find a little dark chocolate, but never chips. And I say that's the best way to go. I love that. Yeah, you really want to care for somebody. Guest is coming, serve them just the healthiest food anyway, and that'll be good for them. That is like a great way to show love to other people, is not give them something unhealthy. And then, of course, it creates the better environment for the most important thing, which is the fact that when you buy the chips and chocolate for other people, the probability went way up that you will have a moment of weakness and want them. And it's like, really, you have to make the decision ahead of time. Like this is saying, like, hey, this doesn't even belong here anymore. I'm winning the battle at the grocery store. We're just not going to have this stuff in the environment anymore. And then you can forget about it, because it's like, oh, you go to the pantry, there's just good things there, and it's clean and organized, and keep all of the thoughts flowing in the most positive direction. So really excited that you've been able to do that. I think that it is a huge step. I would really, I would say celebrate it. It's like when you make a change, there's always the possibility that you revert back. It's hard to stay in a groove. I say a great way to kind of solidify that practice is just to celebrate it and create some positive memories about it. Try to seal it in there, and just try to give yourself a lot of good feelings for doing that. Very hard to make a change of any kind, and then a change, in our patterns of buying food and how we organize our life and space is really, really positive. I think it might be the most important thing. That's what I'm trying to say with this. I said at the beginning, we think toxic relationships, we tend to go right to people and things and we don't really think like, oh, is a toxic relationship just an object? This book helping us to see, but like the pantry, buying just some things and having it there, like something that seems so simple might actually be the root the root of so much trouble, because it's like farsightedness or something. Like, oh, we can see out, we can see relationships, but do we see the things that are right in front of us that are so ingrained in our habits and patterns that we don't even think to even change them? So I think in that way, some of these things, the really core decisions right in our face, right in our own cupboard, right here, some of the very most important things to focus on and do, for sure. Love that. Here we are. It's Thursday, May 7th. We have started our day with some great thinking. We are moving forward in health in this day. I hope it is charging you up. Oh, hey, thank you. Really excited to hear that. I had the idea of doing it, and so far my experience is positive doing it. My great hope is that we can find a way to help more people come in. This experience be a lot more fun if we could build it into something big, and I wish that I had the skills and knowledge of how to do it. And this is what I'm going to be devoting my intention to coming up in this day. How do we build this into an experience that is more helpful? Because as we get more people coming in, we get more perspectives and experience, and it'd be helpful to more people. I think the potential of fasting space, that's why I call it fasting space, the program about fasting space in the body. Fasting space is healing space in the body. It is so helpful. And, it has to be, well, it should be, to reach the most therapeutic, helpful levels of fasting. It has to be done in a kind, gentle, loving, and thoughtful way. We cannot punish our way to health for very long, maybe you can in some degree for a little while, but that is the type of thing that sets up negative cycles. If we're punishing our way to health, we take something that is good, but we approach it in a difficult and unkind way. Maybe we do see some benefit from it to start with, and we say, then it creates a cycle. Oh, look, I did this thing from this perspective. I punished my way to health, and then we get some positive reinforcement, and this is how we can set up a negative cycle that ultimately self-destructs. Because if we are doing a practice, like the classic thing that I'm thinking of in this regard is the gym. People say, there's a lot of punishing our way to health in the gym, which we say people even having self-hatred and say, I'm just really they're not happy to do it, but I'm on the treadmill and the stepper and we're running. You say, oh, can you lose some weight doing that way? Yeah, okay, but also is that the thing that then can trigger more eating, and then we get hungrier, and if we're not happy and finding peace and contentment, you see, we can spiral, and then that process typically burns itself out when someone hurts themselves, or they reach just a saturation point mentally where they quit. And so I say, oh, see, just doing that makes me want to take a deep breath. From my personal practice, exercise to me, I'm a huge exerciser. I want everybody moving to the extent that they comfortably can and feel called and want to do, because I want exercise to be a joyful expression of health for people, so good for the mind and the body. This is exactly the mindset I want for fasting. When you approach fasting in this sort of way, as a joyful expression, not as a restriction or a punishment. When you realize that opening up a fasting space is what can help to give life and vitality to the very cells of our body, that they just wake up, that it can turn on the metabolism, help to burn through things that do not serve us. It's both a physical and metaphorical cleansing practice in our whole life. Like, who doesn't need that, And I feel like I should be able to figure out myself a way to communicate that. I think probably it is a language issue. I need to improve the thinking, improve the communicating. I don't know. I want any feedbacks. I need to give any feedback, as brutal as it might be. Why do you do it this way? Why are you saying it this way? Like, what is the way? How am I being a barrier? This is what I say. How am I being a barrier to it? I want it to flow out somehow. Anyway, these are the types of things I'm thinking and will be thinking of to figure out, how do we take something that I see as so positive and share it with more people. Anyway, appreciate that. Yeah, so that's the idea. I was thinking, okay, does the earlier time, people are working, people are getting on with their day. I hope this is the best time. So far, I'm liking it. So glad that it is resonating with you. And giving time, anybody can come through on the yeah, I have actually thought about this, and I did actually, not only like a student, but like just actually a professional marketing company, and I met with them, and I paid them, and so far I haven't actually had good results from it. So it's like, well, but as I am thinking about it, I send somebody to a physical therapist, and then they didn't have a good experience. I said, maybe we didn't have the right PT. It's like maybe that's the sort of zone for me. Like maybe I need a second perspective on it. Maybe we do. I'd probably definitely do. But it's kind of a balance, to figure out, I'm a doctor. I'm used to sitting in, and I'm still doing it. I got my wonderful fasting clinic rolling. It's kind of an interesting place to go. I feel like some of the things I kind of forced, though. I did force, like some of the marketing, it felt very forced. And it's like I spent a fair amount of money on it and didn't get a return on it. And it would be easier to spend a lot of money on things if I was getting some kind of return on it. And so I don't want to create a bottomless pit of things. Have to conserve the resources because I'm not really. My fasting clinic is wonderful. It's paying for itself now, which has been a total miracle. But it's like breaking even is not. It's not in some way. It's interesting, in the whole medical space. There's so much money in medicine, just literally trillions of dollars. We have a multi-trillion-dollar health system, and it's interesting to think of, this space. How do you sell fasting? I had so many people, including I have a business mentor and other people say, it's probably hard to start a business with something that you can't sell and don't want to, which I said. So I, just as my own personal reflection here, I'm experiencing this. I chose to do it because I believe in it and I love it. And I said, whatever it is, I sat for 15 years in a standard medical clinic trying to help people be healthy and address root causes of conditions and having very, very limited ability to do it outside of a fasting space. There are other practices on this planet to help people to do it. Meditation being another big one that can help to really get down into a deep level. And I came to see that actually these practices, fasting and meditation, coming toward the same place, which was amazing. And so toward the end of my practice, especially the last few years at the university, I was really dialing in with people on a fasting space, meditation, emotional healing. And that was, we definitely, there is value there. But to then strike out with it and say, can we just put this into its pure form? We're doing that in the Fitchburg Clinic now, which is beautiful on a limited level. And then I still feel like the potential in this whole thing is greatest through the video platform, just because the scale of it is potentially so big. And it just feels, that's where the spirit of it feels like some good things. I do feel it, some good things going to come, but I'm just happy about it. Honestly, I'm happy about the whole process. I don't feel anything angry or upset about it. I just feel interested in it. I feel interested, in the culture, in society, in this moment. I think this moment that we are in is completely fascinating, actually, that money and health and media and computers and AI and society and the entire situation that we're in with politics and energy. And I've pretty much tried to completely stop looking at anything political because it totally brings down my energy level. I say I am trying to the greatest extent that I can to channel love and light and creativity and positivity into a way that can like really help people. Like in my biggest vision, like I think that this process, which is very simple, like I was describing in the kitchen, some of these things, they're very close to us. We can't see them. Fasting space, everybody actually has it in their day already. They just don't know it, We're fasting overnight. The body is using that space to reset and get ready for the day. And people are so close. This is what I want people to see. People are so close to a practice. It's already in the body, and we just need to start turning this dial a little bit more. So I tell people, better health is not far away. I want to help people see it. Better health is not far away, is for so many things, metabolically, immunologically, emotionally, you know what I mean? And so I love, my process of doing this channel. I'm feeling really good about it now. I started making videos, and the videos, did better. I would say more people were watching the videos, but it felt like a natural switch to me to do the live. And so, I don't know, how long has it been with live shows? 1.5 years. And to me, the live experience has been personally part of what I try to model for people. I've always tried to model everything that I have tried to do. I tell people about the value of exercising, and so I'm an exerciser. I've explored fasting deeply on a personal level because I try to bring it to people as a health and healing tool. And so then this practice, doing fasting space, the program, switching from making primarily videos that, offline to going live, I was afraid to do it. I really was. And I probably thought 6-7 months, I kept having the feeling, oh, you should probably do the live. It's going to help you connect with people, which is what I really want to do. I want to connect with people and walk forward in health together. And so hard to do. And finally, I got over it and did it. And see, to model just as a process, this is what is so difficult for any type of change. We tend to feel and experience the most resistance to the things that we actually need to do in our life. And so this is what I've been trying to unpack personally as I'm trying to help us all do it as we walk forward together. I think the reasons are for that are because, like, the way the ego works, the way the mind is set up, complacency is kind of the default, because in many ways it keeps us safe. It's like we've stayed alive, in this moment by doing what we're doing. And if we change something, brings in some amount of danger. Finishing this thought, I think I did a year of lives weekly, which felt like an okay sort of routine. It's interesting. Making the switch to doing the lives daily, weekday, was like the same thing. I was so intimidated of doing it. I thought about doing it, for also a very long time, and I kept thinking about it, that I should do it. My experience, interestingly, has been, now I like it. Now it is helping me keeping in a groove. Personally, it helps me stay in a groove, because instead of getting up and checking on the news, I am getting up and dialing in on healthy thoughts, creative thoughts, like how do we expand health? To me, it's been an incredibly healthy, positive thing, because I used to get up and watch the news, or like read it, and then I would be stressed out, and I would start framing my day with tension and things. And now I'm talking about like health and healing and how do we be healthy, and it is helping me as much as anything. The interesting experience, though, is that the more I have done the things that really feel deeply resonant, and that I have like overcome some personal barriers to do it, and like I'm not feeling afraid to turn on the camera anymore, in general, the less I have connected with people, but maybe the more deeply. I connect in a really good way here with Marie and Pat and Queen of Heaven and Christy Newman. Hello, if you're coming through, and so many good relationships, and Wick Sound, if you're coming through, and for the good of humanity, and so many accounts that have come through and connected with. And so even though like dialing in, it has diminished the number of people that I've connected with this format. It's a totally different experience, and maybe it's just the case that most people are not looking for that. I don't know, and so it's a learning experience. Most people, I don't know, are on the shorts feed, and they're not really looking to change or connect, or are we just looking for entertainment? I don't know. And so, what is really the potential? But I feel like we've drilled down. To me, I feel like this is drilling down just to a really cool place. And, I like it. I do like it. I feel like, I think it'll build in some way into something. And maybe it doesn't, but, like whatever. I am just happy that I've tried it. I am. Man, this has turned into a personal reflection. Marie asks, how come your body doesn't rebel and go into starvation mode when you're fasting? What a beautiful question. We should probably turn this into a whole talk. Maybe I will do it. There is a point at which you do it, okay? So, and this is one of the core reasons of simple fasting, of why I say fasting within a day. People see the metabolism as a static thing. People will say things like, well, just my family is this way. It is a genetic thing. People say my metabolism is programmed. It's just slow or something like that. Okay, this is really not true as far as I can see in most cases. The metabolism as a thing is quite dynamic, and it changes and adapts to our environment and behavior. There are studies. I've got an article, simplefasting.com. I got to set up my thing where I can walk people through things live. But where I am looking through, I think the title is something like why fasting is better than exercise for weight loss. And it's specifically going through a study that the NIH did on the participants of this NBC, at the time, NBC, I believe, show, The Biggest Loser. Okay, I don't know if you've seen this show. They take people who are very overweight, they put them through extreme exercise and dietary practices. They lose tons of weight. And then the NIH was studying them during the show and showed that the whole time they were doing this, the metabolism was slowing way down. And in a subsequent analysis a year later, everybody regained all the weight that they lost on the show. I mean, hundreds of pounds. Some people cycled through the whole thing. And so they showed this negative metabolic adaptation. And so I think that's pretty conclusive, and there's other studies that have looked at this. It shows, okay, the metabolism is dynamic and it changes. And there have been some very, very discouraging things written over the last decade about telling people basically, weight loss is impossible because you get to a set point, and every time you try to do anything to break out of it, your body will just adapt and help you go back to this set point. And this set point thing is also a really, really unhealthy and unhelpful piece of thinking that has crept in, and it has led to so much, like a self-fulfilling prophecy, where people believe that something never can happen, and so it just manifests in the statement that very few people have long-term success with any process, unfortunately. And the thing that is very frustrating to me is that it is not true, and because, of course, there are examples out there as a fraction of people, right? But people do sustainably lose weight over time, and people can escape the cycles of negative metabolic adaptation, and one of the ways to do it is through fasting. When someone, and it helps to me, I like to personify this, just because, and this is not the body, I don't think, maybe it is, I don't know, is not necessarily really thinking of it this way, but this is the kind of story that I tell to kind of help illustrate it. Okay, a very difficult situation for the body is calorie restricting without fasting, okay? And this is what the vast majority of dieting culture is in the world, is calorie restriction without fasting. Ends up looking like eating little bits all the time. People are grazing on things, tiny little bits, and this is not really how the body is designed to work. The body is designed to process a meal and then be done and rest and recover and repair and deal with it, okay? The body really understands that. And little bits of food all the time, the body can put the body in a difficult place, because it's like we have a switch, right? And we can be running off food, or we can be running off of energy storage, but that switch doesn't happen instantly in one direction. it happens instantly. As soon as we're eating food, we switch off the fasting. Like we're eating now, we're not fasting. And this is cutting off access to body fat in many ways, hormonally especially. But now it's food, but now we're dieting, and now we don't have as much energy available because we're dieting. And our first thought is, well, this is going to help us lose weight because we're cutting our calories down and we're just eating a little bit. But this can be the trigger that triggers negative adaptation, because the body's like, but we can't access the storage because hormones telling us not to do it because there's food here, but then not enough. And instead of just sucking the energy out of the body fat, the body slows down the metabolism instead. Do you see that? Because we have, our mind, different goals than the body. Body wants to save body fat. This is the part where we can get into the idea where this set point has some validity, which is the body doesn't want to waste any energy. The body is incredibly efficient. It never wants to get rid of something, okay, that it could save for later that might keep us alive, right? So like when we see that, body's like, okay, there's a little bit of food here, not enough to run the system, but what if we slowed down the metabolism a bit? Then we could conserve it. Is that making sense as a first step, calorie restriction without fasting? Now, what about fasting space? Calorie restriction with fasting. Like when we're fasting, now the body gets it, right? Now we can flip over. Now the energy is there. Now we can use it. And this is a normal space in the body. And we say, okay, we can use this energy now. No need to negatively adapt the system in the short term. So this is what happens. I hope I'm answering your question with it. How come the body doesn't rebel, go into starvation mode? Okay, in the short term, the system is designed for a fasting space. It's designed for an eating space. We can run off that. Designed for a fasting space. It's like we need to function. Body has energy there. We can get more energy many times in a stable fashion out of a fasting space. No need to negatively adapt the system in the short term. But this is the thing. A starvation mode is a real thing, and that will be triggered in the body with an extended amount of fasting. So as we are heading through this space, the flip point is going to be different for different people. It's somewhere, depending on many factors, what people's weight is, what people's insulin resistance is, what they were eating in the days beforehand, what someone's exercise level is. It's probably somewhere between 3 and 10 days. Very clearly in the studies I've looked at, by 10 days of fasting, so an extended fasting, everybody's metabolism is slowing way down again, okay? So it can be like a release. If the metabolism is slow and then you start fasting and it can open up, and clearly if you go into an extended fasting, it can slow back down again. Now, I would love it if some of the $1 trillion of our system could actually walk people through this entire process, and to just map it out, because I have pieced these things through many different studies. This is my best interpretation of what is happening physiologically in the body. So pure fasting will slow the metabolism down again after some amount of time, and it can pep it back up when it has been through this dietary deprivation sort of cycle. And this is why I really like the sweet spot in the middle for people, something that is creating balance, where we are getting the positive nutrition that we need and balancing it with an amount of fasting that helps keep the metabolism going and brings these things into balance. If someone is doing something like 16-8 or OMAD, or even an occasional one-day fasting, these are the types of things that are opening up access to energy storage and helping to keep the metabolism function in a top space, as far as I can see. And an extended fasting does have some potential of diminishing that, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, that physiology is essential, right? this is how a human being can survive for so long, because it can be so radically efficient. And this is actually how people can practice extended fasting. Like, you can go online, you can watch documentaries of people who fasted for 40 days and do these incredible things. Some of these people not even significantly overweight. And you say, how is that even physiologically possible? Is because the body at baseline is radically efficient. And then as we go into significant fasting, heading toward, a starvation space, which is something I say stay hyper far away from. That's why I say way over on the other end. But just the idea that the body can do it, because it gets so incredibly efficient that it can survive on a very, very small amount of energy. It's just incredible. And so I always wondered this, especially growing up, when you realize, like, how did people survive? No grocery stores and no tractors or farms, and just people finding some mushrooms and berries around the woods. Like, I'm just trying to think, like, what happened? Like, okay, the body has incredible power, incredible ability to survive, and it is just mind blowing, actually. And so all this is to answer your question of to stay. A starvation mode is real. It has very real and positive things. And even in an extended fasting period does have real value, because even though the metabolism is slowed, it doesn't stop. And in that space, you continue to burn energy and you get into deeper and deeper levels of autophagy. It is a deeper and deeper healing space. I say within that space, though, the deeper you go into it, the more healing potential there is and the more risk. And so I have no desire of any kind to have any risk for anyone, and especially in a space like this. We're not practicing medicine here. We're just having a chat, sharing some fasting space. I always look at all my disclaimers. I tell everybody, talk with your medical team about any decisions that you make. But, fasting within a day to eat twice or 3 times, like, this is just a normal part of human behavior. People do this, and don't even call it fasting. Somebody gets up on the weekend and has brunch, and then they have dinner, and then they go to bed, and they don't consider themselves a faster. They just got up and they just slept in one day and had brunch and then had dinner. It's like, oh, you just did 16/8, but you don't know it, So, there's not really risk there, if you see what I'm saying. To dial out fasting into multiple days, yes, has some risk. I have done some monitoring of that in the clinic, where I'm able to see people, physically examine them, take their vitals, and check labs, which is the appropriate way to do something like that. Have a knowledgeable provider who can supervise it and make sure that everything is safe with it. So, yes, extended fasting can trigger slowing of the metabolism. Might be just fine if you have the mindset to do it. It is very powerful, and if you are supported in a space where you can ensure that everything is safe. Okay, but outside of that, I say none of that is simple fasting. Like you see, that is advanced fasting practice, Simple fasting practice, I want everybody's metabolism revved up to like the max. I want people getting as much benefit as possible. I want people having a stable, healthy, positive relationship with food. And to me, just getting in a routine, like we see in the book, is saying, okay, you want stability and predictability. Okay, a routine is something that helps you do that. And so whether that, for many people, a baseline, eating twice in a day in a 6 to 8 hour window, can be a routine that is pretty stable. And then I like to use the dial, say dialing in 1 meal a day. I would say on average, some people, you flip into eating twice a day and they will consistently lose weight by doing that. But it's not the majority of people. It's like the majority of people who flip in twice a day, like, will have some amount of weight loss initially, and it'll tend to plateau and maybe going down over time a little bit, depending on, all this depends on the dietary practice. How well are you eating in those 2 meals? For most people, is like throwing in some 1 meals in there is what really starts to bend the curve, And most people who thoughtfully do OMAD with healthy food, will consistently lose weight. And even not everyone. And I tell people you can't guarantee it, because even in a space, like this, the body wants to hang on to body fat. That's the part of the set point that is real. But the really thing, it isn't a set point. It's just the physiology of how the body interacts with the environment. Sometimes, if someone is in that sort of point, say, look, Dr. Z, I did a OMAD. I'm not losing weight. I even got in a routine of it. Sometimes you have to break through with it. And so sometimes the extended fasting practice, the place where I just go to would be like alternate daily fasting is kind of the end of simple fasting. Have a fasting day where we didn't eat, stayed hydrated, and that can kind of break through, break the ice, break in. We say we got body fat there. Like, how do we get it? It's like we got it. Sometimes you got to break in, and sometimes the full fasting day can really smooth out those metabolic pathways in the body to get it, and that's what really unlocks it, perks people up, gets people out of the negative cycle that the dieting did. And then have some healthy food, and then kind of lean into that. And that's kind of a practice that sometimes breaks through. For most people, to do an extended fasting is so intense. And then if it can bring in these things, and then there's a propensity of people, because, we tend to change when we hit a rock bottom, right? We get a point where we're fed up with something, and then we get some motivation and we want to hit something so hard, okay? But then when we hit something, I'm just giving you the archetypal flow of how things typically go. We hit something so hard, but then because we hit it so hard, we get some results from it, and then we feel like we accomplished something, and then we have the potential of just sliding back into the complacency. And this is another way that we get trapped in a cycle, and then we go through these cycles, hitting things super hard and then becoming complacent and sliding back into a thing and having to hit it again. This is another reason why I go simple fasting, is just these earlier, parts of it, is to create something sustainable to break out of a cycle like that. Because hitting something so intensely is not sustainable. You can't approach an extended fasting practice as, this is just what I do now. We can't fast forever. We need good nutrition. These things can become dangerous, and it can, like we are saying, it can trigger negative adaptations also, that then when we stop doing it, if we don't have the foundation in place, like the container to put something like that in, that is such a pinnacle process. I've seen people do extended fasting, even, people come to my clinic because there's not very many doctors who will supervise people doing, extended fasting. So I have people show up who are just like, doing extended fasts that I did not direct them to do, but then they say, like, help me to keep this going. And I'm like, whoa, we have got to really think about what is happening here, because to me, that is such a pinnacle health experience. That is the mountaintop experience, something that some people might do on some times in their life, but only a couple. I've done it twice. Okay. I've done an extended fast twice in my life, and I'm not going to be doing it again now. I'll tell you. An experience like that, I'm open to have someone do it. I never want to discourage someone from it, because it can be a deeply personal and healing experience, but it has to be put in a context, a strong foundation. You don't build a mountaintop without the huge base under it. Think of the base of the mountain that is supporting the top. And so this is what I want to really show people. If you are trying, we've done this beautiful book. We'll go back to that. The Mountain is You. We're trying to climb a mountain, have a health experience, a healing experience. We're thinking in this metaphor almost like building a mountain, like building a health practice. You need a big base. That's what I'm trying to say for it. So 16.8 is like a huge base. we're not having negative adaptation, in that space. We're building out, that's something that you can fall back on. And then as we're building up that experience, like having an experience, can you practice OMAD, Can you eat one meal a day and have it be satisfactory? And can you feel good and not, and just feel openness and positivity from it? And, and know that you can be sustained and stable in a place like that. I've seen people who have gone straight from no fasting, that they're eating 6 times in a day and snacks and bedtime snacks, I think, and they go straight onto an extended fasting. And you say, then to go from that, and they don't have the base to fall back on, then they start eating all the time again, and now the metabolism is slower, like your question. And then that can create a cycle of just putting all the weight back on, And I have seen that of people coming in. I never want to see that again. I was like, if you're going to go through all the work and of doing this monumental task of fasting for many days, you got to be well sure that you have a base that can support it so that you don't lose that, if you see what I'm saying. And increasingly, my practice, just became the more I have these cycles, the more I say, let's just really just ground things. We can go anywhere we want to go in a weight loss space, just on the shallow end of the pool. We don't need to take risks. We don't need to push it. For the rare person where they say, this is a path, to me, it's almost more of a spiritual path or a personal development path than specifically a weight loss tool. Because as a weight loss process, the thing that we really care about is the very long term, and the things that help in the long term is stability and a routine and a practice, in my experience. It's not like the burst of incredible energy that lasted for 2 weeks, when we hit the gym hard for 2 weeks and we did it. Is what is the daily practice, that helps us walk through a space in the best fashion. Okay. Marie says, thanks. Been wondering because my weight loss seems stalled, and I think probably don't eat enough when I do eat. It's quality food. It's, quality food, but the quantity isn't there. Yeah, when people are eating, I encourage people to eat satisfying, healthy, positive meals, that you feel good about. How do you feel about it, do you feel good when you're done eating it? Does it feel satisfying? And if it's good food, that is something to think about. You don't have to have a baby meal. This is one of the big benefits of fasting. One of the big things that can be so positive about it is that it's when we're not eating, it's very clear. We can feel good. Just can't really be doing anything more intense than this. Okay, but then when we're eating, it's we eat a satisfying meal. And that's one of the things that is hardest about standard dieting is that we're eating all the time, but never as much as we want, never really satisfying. It's just it can be a very frustrating way to eat. And then it gets us trapped in this sort of cycle. So I do want people, I think, like I was saying before, meals are how the body is designed to work. The body loves a meal, a very good thing to do. That said, if a small meal is, you feel satisfied, it feels like enough, and you're in a space, you say it's not working, these things can be experimented with. That's not necessarily a bad place to be. Lose weight by eating more food also is not always the right answer, And so 2 ways can be explored from that point. And it can be different for different people. But here would be the points to explore. You're in a space eating 1 meal a day. You're stuck in a plateau space. I've definitely done some thinking, realized that's not a bad place to be. Many times on OMAD, a plateau, for whatever reason, you stick with it, will resolve downward over time. The 2 branch points to go. If you don't feel completely satisfied after a meal, eating a little bit more, are you someone, because we don't exactly know, are you getting some amount of triggering of some negative adaptation space? Does that change that in some fashion? Can eating more in that space feel better, make it sustainable? Does it help in some way? You can just experiment with it over a month and find out. And if you make that change, and actually the scale started going up, you would say, well, this is not really working for my physiology. This would be the type of thing that I would work through with someone in the clinic. If as a starting point, I try not to monitor people, a lot, as far as number of calories, all these sort of things. I was like, if we can just deal in concepts and help people flow through a space, and we can just skip all the apps and monitoring and things, and it worked, that'd be like the simplest. But if you're getting to a spot where it's stuck, then being a little more analytical can start to do it. You keep an eye on the weights and you say, okay, we made a change, and then it is clearly not working. Okay. The other way is the way to flow through it, is to actually lean into the fasting process and say, okay, we've had some benefit in this space. And like I was describing, do you need actually the full fasting day to actually break through that space and unlock that space? Instead of having a little meal, switching out of the fasting space, opening up fasting space for the day, and then trying some alternate daily fasting, or throwing even 1 day a week, is like a little thing to hit the system there. So if you're feeling perfectly content with OMAD but not getting what you want, have you done a full fasting day? What if you fasted Monday and then OMAD the rest of the week, and then you monitor that one? Between one of those 2 options is going to work, I'd pretty much say. Heartier meal, more satisfying. Is it working? Sometimes I have seen that. Leaning into the fasting, do a full fasting day, really opening up that reset space. See, that's still simple fasting. 1 day of fasting, not heading us into some extended fasting space. Either of those could be the space that takes you there. Okay, that felt like such a nice thing to flow through. I got some personal therapy time on the camera, reflecting on what we're doing here. Loved it. I probably go back and watch it just myself and reflect on that. And then Marie, really appreciated this question. Got us into some deep thinking on metabolism and the ways to really work through these things. Loved that. Thank you so much for being here. And then the start of the place, these relationships we have with the environment. So a lot of good thinking and flowing through these thoughts this morning. Share ongoing questions, comments, put them in the comments if you're here on the replay. Love to have an ongoing conversation about any of these ideas. Any comments you put in, come to me. I will respond. I'll be back tomorrow morning with some more thoughts and thinking. Look forward to connecting with you again. Then have a great day, everybody.